I got to jump in because Donald Trump's on the hotline.
We'll
get back to
he's got
E-Rock
money
and-
to finance this thing.
Yeah, we'll ask him about it. But E-Rock, we'll get back to you and your movie in a minute here, all right? Donald Trump.
Good morning.
There he is.
We love when you call our show.
Well, I love your shows.
Thank you, sir. Donald
Thing to do.
Trump, Celebrity Apprentice, All-Stars. Sundays, 9 p.m., right, in NBC?
That's exactly right. This Sunday. It starts this Sunday. 13th season. Great people, great cast.
This cast it's obviously celebrity because it's star-studded. And some of my favorites, including Stephen Baldwin.
Right.
And, of course, Gary Busey.
Right, and Dennis Rodman, and Trace Atkins, and LaToya Jackson. It's an amazing cast.
Penn Jillette.
Omarosa Penn Jillette. Omarosa, she's nasty lately.
Wow.
She was nasty, I will tell you.
Really?
Oh, that's good. She's great TV.
She's great TV, actually.
Absolutely.
Donald,
I love Omarosa.
Do you have your Twitter back yet, or how long did you lose that for?
Well, I lost it for a little while. Somebody sort of made some pretty rough statements on it. Somebody hacked it. We're looking for that person.
Oh, boy.
We will ultimately find that person. But we had to close it down for a little while. But, it's at Real Donald Trump, and I have millions of people. It's like owning the New York Times without the losses.
It really is.
And it's been really amazing. And we pick up thousands and thousands of people a week, and it's been really great. So it's at Real Donald Trump. Tell your people, we have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah,
We're controversial, but I don't say controversial. I say I'm truthful.
Exactly.
You really love
That's what
Twitter.
I say.
Twitter was made for you.
I speak the truth.
Yeah.
And, I went to the best school. I did well. I was, supposed to be a smart guy and all that stuff. But I speak the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts, as you guys know. You've been through it. And, we have a lot of fun with it. But it's an amazing new kind of... I guess you'd call it entertainment in one way, but
sure,
it's a form of information that's unbelievable.
You're suing obviously Bill Maher for what he said on Leno, and let me ask you as a fellow comic, it seems almost like that the guy was kidding, and I understand what your lawsuit is based on or what you're saying for the charities, but it almost comes off as like humorless to sue him for that, even though I know Bill has said a lot of things I'm sure you didn't care for.
Bill's an ass.
But I'm saying that those feelings aside.
The interesting thing, and again, it's money to a charity and to 5 charities. Sandy, we're giving Hurricane Sandy, we're giving money to cancer research, AIDS research, all of this. But he said he made an offer. And he said, I will give $5 million to any one of Donald Trump's charities or to Donald Trump's charities if he does this and proves that he's not the son of, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So, and he went on. But he said, I will give if he proves. So the next day we sent out documentation, information, and we said, please make the checks payable to the Sandy victims, to this. So I sort of have an obligation. I mean, he's a sleazebag. He's not a smart guy. He wasn't a good student in school. He was a terrible student. I have somebody that knows him that went to school with him and said he was a moron.
Not like us.
And you leave, and this guy all of a sudden is on HBO because HBO is a stupid group, and they put him on, and he doesn't do particularly well. I mean, the only bad thing about him, I'm probably helping him. When I went after Rosie, I didn't realize, but that's when her ratings went up. Now, after I stopped, her ratings went back down again. But I actually helped Rosie because her ratings went up. She wasn't doing well, and then her ratings went up. So probably the same thing happens with this moron. But he made an offer. I accepted the offer. And I said, pay me the check, and this is where it's going to go. And I named 5 really great charities that you'd be very proud of me.
Now, is that illegally?
So we'll
is that illegally? Because you've been involved with many attorneys and many deals.
No, I have. I mean, I'm very familiar with the law.
Is that a legally binding
honestly,
arrangement?
We're going to find out. I don't necessarily consider him a comedian. He considers himself to be a political commentator. And if you watch him, I mean, and by the way, there was nothing easy about what he said, the hatred that he had. He wasn't laughing, smiling. I mean, this guy truly hates me, which is fine as far as I'm concerned. But he was nervous. He was all crazy when he was and I didn't consider it. Plus, he said terrible things. I had parents who were fabulous people, very good looking. My father was really handsome. My mother was this great beauty. And, you know, he was really disparaging.
You got a very attractive family, Donald. We know that.
But doesn't that almost...
My mother was like this great beauty, and he really was disparaging to my parents, you know, and you take a look at the way this guy looked. You know, he's almost a freak.
So,
so I feel I have an obligation a little bit to my parents, although they would understand. But I have a big obligation to 5 great charities, including AIDS research and cancer and Sandy victims.
Yes,
and lots of others.
So helping people.
I mean, I don't know that we win it. I don't know that we don't win it. I mean, some judge will make a decision, but he made an offer. And I accept.
You accept it. That's pretty much where it stands. Yeah.
If someone made an offer to you, say, to buy a building or something like that, wouldn't it be like a process you go through? Well, we have to have a counter offer, or I have to accept.
Nothing has to be in writing, though. Although in real estate, it generally has to be in writing. You know, real estate's a little bit different. There's different sets of laws, but in real estate, generally speaking, an offer made and accepted, if you have witnesses and all, it can be, in this case, it was a very firm offer. I mean, he made an offer, I will give, right? Mm-hmm. He made an offer, I accepted the offer, and an offer made and accepted doesn't have to be in writing at all, no, not at all.
Okay, and again, I'm not necessarily, saying I agree with what Bill Maher said, but I mean, it was such a ludicrous thing.
It's welching.
No, I understand what you're saying.
You're such a bright guy, you know the difference.
Sure, the courts will determine. And, I look at it as very simplistic in one way. I mean, an offer was made, a solid offer. He didn't say, I'm kidding, I'm only kidding. He was on Jay Leno. He didn't say, hey, Jay, here's a funny one. Look, I will give. Or he didn't say, after he made it, I'm only kidding. Or he made a solid offer, and he said, I'll give it to his charities. He even brought up charities. Mm-hmm. Right? He didn't even just say, I'm going to give him $5 million. I'm going to give it to charities. Now, had he not used the word charity, I wouldn't have pursued it, probably.
Did he use the word charity, though?
Oh, yeah,
No. I'm sorry. I didn't finish. It was almost like because you had used the word charity in your original offer to the president, his using the word charity was basically just kind of... That's to me what made it a joke, was the fact that he used the same terminology in a ludicrous situation as you. Like it was so obvious, just parroting what you had said and putting a ludicrous part to it.
I didn't view it that way, and you may be right. I don't know. I didn't view it that way. I mean, to me, I just viewed it very simply that he made me an offer. He said he was going to give $5 million to my charities if I did this and that. Well, I did that and that. And I said, send the $5 million to me, and I'm going to give it to these 5 charities, $1 million apiece. And that's where it stands right now. We'll find out what happens. I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying, but I feel I have an obligation. And he made an offer, and I did accept it. And there was a man recently, I thought it was on the Jay Leno show, too, where a rapper lost his computer. You saw that case, right?
Yes.
He lost his computer, and he said, I'll give $1 million to anybody that finds my computer. And I think a German tourist found it. And he gave it back, and he wanted the $1 million. The guy didn't do it. The German tourist sued him, and the German tourist not only won $1 million, but he got all legal fees. He got interest on his money. And this is a very famous case that took place a couple of months ago. I don't know. We're going to find out what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know what you're saying too. Although knowing a little bit about it, they will probably see that one thing was said, and because the audience did laugh when he said it because of the ludicrousness of the. It's like if you tell somebody, like, tell a woman, like, oh man, I'll have sex with you. I'll have sex with you for 30 hours. Like, everybody knows you're making a ludicrous exaggeration just for humor.
Maybe you.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He made a very strong offer. I accepted it strongly, and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be up to a judge. And I'll tell you something. I've had lawyers that agree with me 100%, and then I've had some that don't agree. I mean, it's really going to be up to a judge to make a determination. But I have had some really good lawyers saying, you have a really good case.
Have a case, yeah.
But the point here is you want Bill Maher to suffer.
Exactly.
I don't care. I don't care about Bill Maher. I know nothing about Bill Maher. I mean,
he's an ass.
We met him once, and he we did not hit it off.
Well, he's not.
We did not hit it off.
I can tell you on my Twitter, I have so many people saying, please pursue that, please pursue that. We saw it. He owes you that money, meaning he owes the charities that money. I mean, he's not very popular. I don't know how he does in the ratings. I have no idea if he gets good ratings or not.
I don't know. He makes me want HBO to bring back Arliss. It's a horrible, horrible
I don't think
show.
He's a bright guy.
No, he's not.
he goes around under the guise of, this really smart guy, but I don't think he's a smart guy. And I'm pretty good at that stuff. I watch people. I can understand people. I made a lot of money by judging people.
Yeah.
It's like people could say I got good locations. I mean, the truth is I make money by judging people.
Yeah.
He is not a smart guy. So we'll see what happens.
Wait, you judge people? What do you think of us? Are we smart people?
Fabulous.
We're
What a
smart,
show.
right?
What a
show. What a show.
what a combination.
Donald.
That's some partnership. Man, that must be a tough one. Right?
That was...
Wait, do you sense sarcasm there? A little bit?
A little bit.
I think it's great.
Well, this is fantastic. I like the Celebrity Apprentice lineup.
Yeah, know who we like a lot?
Penn Jillette.
Yeah, Penn Jillette is...
a lot of people like Penn.
Yeah, he's on our show a lot. He kills
Now, that's
for
a
us.
smart guy.
Real smart
Penn
guy.
was doing fine in Las Vegas, and then about 2 years ago, as you know, he went on Celebrity Apprentice, and his show went from doing okay, it was doing okay, it was a Las Vegas, to being where you can't even get a ticket. And so he did very, very well, and he's a nice guy, and he's smart. So we'll see we'll see how it all happens. I can tell you, he does do well. I mean, he's a very cunning cookie.
I got to ask you one. I don't know if we ever asked you this.
This is
no, not bad, not bad. We're really close with Andrew Dice Clay.
Right.
Why wouldn't you leave him on the show just because he's going to make good TV for you?
Can I be honest? I love that guy, and I had to make a decision early on with The Apprentice. We've had now 16 copies because, as you saw on CBS the other day, there was a show called The Job. I used to say 15 copies. They all failed immediately. Many people did copies, knockoffs of The Apprentice. Well, they did another one, and it was on for the last couple of weeks, and it was called The Job on CBS.
Yeah.
It just got canceled. So now I'm proud to say, and I love that. I love when that happens. I love it. It's like you guys. Don't you love to see your opponents fail?
Yes.
Of
You
course.
love to see when the ratings come out how well you do, and other guys are dying, and they're going to be canceled. Well, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So they had The Job, and that failed. But the truth is, I made a decision a long time ago, right at the beginning. Can you believe this is 10 years of great ratings? Number one show in
10 years.
10
Wow.
years. Can you believe it? This is the 13th season. Some seasons they had 2 on. But
Wow.
we're now in the 10th year, which is hard to believe. And it continues to do great. So I made a decision. Do I do this show for entertainment, or do I do it for I have to have credibility? Andrew, I think he's fabulous. He was great. The problem is there was nobody else I could have fired that night. So if I would have fired somebody else, that frankly would have been, less entertainment value. I would have lost credibility. So I really made the decision a long time ago. I have to go with like when I fired Dennis Rodman. I hated to fire Dennis Rodman. I mean, how great was Dennis Rodman?
It was
He a
great.
mess, right?
Terrific.
He was amazing entertainment. When I fired Gary Busey, people said,
Terrific, though.
They were begging me to keep Gary Busey. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But I have him back on, and I have Dennis Rodman back on Sunday night. So I really made a decision that I have to do the right thing, as opposed to what's good for entertainment. And ultimately, that gave me and the show credibility, and I think that's maybe one of the reasons.
Yeah.
But you're right. He's a friend of yours, Andrew, and he was fabulous. But
we're not even trying to defend him. We just know he makes just great TV wherever he goes.
Oh, he was great. I mean, he was really good, and I hated to do it. I mean, there were 3 or 4 people that, frankly, I would have loved to have gotten rid of because they weren't exciting people.
Yeah.
But if I did it, people would have said, "How the hell did you do that one?"
Right.
You understand?
Yes. Why no Clay Aiken? Too whiny? You had it with his whining?
I could have had him back. We didn't ask him. We actually, everybody we asked, we got.
Yes.
Because, we asked people that really resonated and did well. And we talk about Romney. Romney was interesting because he didn't resonate. He was a nice man, didn't resonate. Well, some people don't resonate. And these people were great people, and that's why we call it the All-Stars.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be great.
Shark Tank, what's your thoughts? We just had Mark Cuban in here the other day.
Well, Mark Cuban went around, I guess, on one of your friends' shows. Howard. I don't know. Are you friends with Howard?
We're in the same building.
We have an understanding,
All right.
I guess.
Well, he went on and he said, but Shark Tank got better. Well, what we did is we did a thing called Nielsen. We sent the ratings in, and, now all of a sudden nobody talks about that. But the Nielsen ratings are much better for The Apprentice. And by the way, that's after 13 seasons.
Right.
And last year we went against the Academy Awards. We went against the biggest shows on television, and we still, blew Shark Tank away. Shark Tank's a Friday show which you know what Friday is. It's called Death Valley Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
You know what? It does fine on Friday. It does fine. But, Mark was making statements that weren't true. So what we did is we sent in the Nielsen ratings, and everybody apologized.
How do you deal with that Piers Morgan guy?
Well, he's terrific. Look,
boy.
I think he's terrific. I mean, people don't like him, and some people like him. But he came in, nobody knew him, went on The Apprentice, showed how smart he was. There's an example of somebody that was really, really smart. Now, he was in the finale against Trace, okay, Trace Adkins. And Trace was really popular, and Piers was less popular, but, I mean, Piers just blew it out of the park. And anyway, he wins, and then he gets Larry King, and he gets, he was on America's Got Talent. But he deserves it. He's a very smart guy.
I don't like some Brit telling me what I can and can't use as far as defending myself, Donald.
I know, but can I tell you what? He's a very, very smart guy and a very good guy. And I'm proud of the fact that he did so well. Joan Rivers, look at Joan Rivers. Her career was dead. And, I mean, she said it.
I love Donald.
No, it's true. I mean, her
Sure.
She actually did a thing where, she showed the diary and she had nothing in there. And she went on to Apprentice and won. You don't only have to win. Like, as an example, Trace Adkins came in second. When he was on the show, nobody knew who the hell he was. And during the show, he had the number one album. During the show, the number one, I guess, country album. He went to number one. He's one of the top country stars. So it's been really good for these people. And I think, importantly, they raised millions of dollars for charity during the show.
Yeah.
Why no Meatloaf? You had it with his crying?
We would have. I think Meatloaf was on tour, so we didn't even bother with that. But we will probably have Meatloaf back at some time. He was, he was a funny guy because, you cover Meatloaf. He was the most emotional guy I've ever seen.
He was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You'd see Meatloaf, and you see this big sort of tough guy.
Yeah.
Every time he got into a fight, he started crying.
Yeah, he sure
He'd
did.
start crying. Yes.
His passion was unbelievable. He was great, though. He could not have been better. And I would imagine that we will have him back someday.
Very cool. And the show's you got a lot of advisors this year, too. You got Arsenio Hall's an advisor, Piers Morgan, Joan Rivers, John Rich, your son, Donald Trump Jr., who's going to be in here tomorrow.
Good.
We're kind of pals with him.
And we have Ivanka, who does
who's beautiful, by the way.
But we're doing that. We're taking the winners. And, Brett Michaels was also a winner. And I think he made a terrible mistake, but we'll find out. He decided that he wanted to go on the show again. Now, that's a little bit like Muhammad Ali. You win the heavyweight championship, and then 6 years later you want to come back and fight again, right?
It's probably for the same reason. They missed the spotlight. It's hard to not be in the spotlight.
They miss it. And I said, you can come back as you should. No, I want to go on the show. Now, the chances, you would think the chances aren't that great, right? I mean, how is he so much better? He's a very good guy. He's a very talented guy. But he wanted to raise money for the charity, and you can't do that as the judge, as you can imagine. But I think he took a very big risk, but we're going to find out. I would not have done that if I were him.
Yeah, I want to change topics. The Pope, it's his last day. What's your feeling with that whole thing?
I think it's terrible that he resigned. It's funny. I get used to old popes that were bent over and practically.
Yes, true. Yes,
I thought they were great, like Pope John. I mean, the poor guy could hardly even stand up, and they put him in that glass cage, and he'd be bent over, and he was great. And you say, it's our Pope. I love him. The fact is, I think this guy made a terrible mistake. I just don't think. We talk about resonating. I don't think he ever resonated great as a pope.
Yeah.
He's not going to go down. I thought Pope John did.
Of course.
I thought that I happen to be Christian. I thought that this man was, never at the top of the heap. I always, I loved Pope John. Even at the end, I mean, he was so tired. He was exhausted. But
he really was.
He was in there pitching. I think, and now, you could say it isn't the first time because it happened 600 or 700 years ago where somebody resigned.
Sure.
I think we got used to, a lot of times they say you retire at a certain age, right? I think we got used to popes not retiring.
Yeah, that's what happened. They just held it until the end of their lives.
Well, it's like an executive in a company that all of a sudden quits, and then you say, "Oh, what's wrong with that company?" and the stock goes down, right?
Right.
People sort of say, "Well, what's wrong?" And I just, when I heard he was leaving, I said, "Oh boy, they really have problems."
Yeah.
I just think it was a terrible thing to do for him and for the church. I think it's a very bad thing.
Donald, I also want to ask you official statement on Melissa King, of course, Miss Teen Delaware, USA.
Well, she was in porno movies, and she actually resigned. She had no choice, and it's too bad. It's too bad. You know, they signed documents, and this whole pageant system, I own Miss Universe, Miss USA, Miss Teen USA, and they're very successful. And, you know, I tell you what, I give them and their parents tremendous credit, because some of these girls are just amazing. They're brought up so beautifully and everything. Anyway, she was in heavy porno stuff.
Yes, I saw the video, Mr. Trump.
Was it as heavy as I've heard?
I had to.
The word you're looking for is great.
I had to look based on, you know, my journalistic integrity. I didn't want to comment on it until I had seen it 5 or 6 times.
And was, in other words, you viewed it many times?
Yes, I wanted to make sure I got the full impact of it and knew what maybe her frame of mind was of this whole thing. I actually, in all honesty, I feel bad for the girl. It's
how bad was it?
It's extremely graphic. And pretty much has all the features of a hardcore pornography feature. Yeah.
So you can't say it was like a little mistake.
No, nothing like that. And
well, it was an immediate resignation, so she obviously knew.
Yeah, I guess her lawyers were saying that it's not her, but it's so her.
It's her.
Yeah, you can really tell. You've met her, I mean, obviously?
I think I've taken a picture with her. In fact, my pictures with her all over the world.
Oh, boy.
You know, because I take pictures with all of them. And she... it's too bad. I mean,
she's a very pretty girl, very, girl next door-ish. I think she would have had, had a good career there.
But it's something that has to happen. You know, I don't know, do you remember a number of years ago, we call it The Answer. It was one of the great answers of all time, one of the most beautiful girls. Do you remember that girl, the blonde girl from North or South Carolina?
Yes.
Who gave this answer about something. It was like about education, and she went all over the place. She was so beautiful that, and I remember Letterman saying, "Okay, that was a great answer. Let's play it again." They played it like 4 times, only because her beauty was so incredible.
Right.
Anyway, in this case, you have no choice. And I heard it was very graphic. I have not seen it, but I heard it was
Donald, you really should, before you comment on it, you should view it. You should screen this.
It's official business.
Yes.
I think you guys have been around the corner. I think I can trust you to give me a good...
All right.
I think based on what you said, I don't have to see it.
Yes, yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll watch it a couple more times for you.
You'll be my advisor.
All right.
Hey, can I tell you, you've already advised me.
I have. Okay. Very good. I like that.
Well, we should let the Donald go, man.
Yes, of course. Donald Trump, Celebrity Apprentice, All-Stars, this Sunday, 9 p.m., NBC. The lineup looks great. I mean, they're all the people that have had such great personalities on prior apprentices. So it should be really fun. Absolutely.
I think it will be, and I really appreciate it, fellas. And good luck with everything. Keep it up, and I'll talk to you the next cycle or whatever.
Yeah,
Great.
sounds great.
Thanks, Donald.
Have a good time.
All right, Donald Trump, everyone. He's
There he
entertaining
goes.
as all hell.